All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the We Book It podcast. Y'all, this is your Who's Next with NXT review special. I am your host, Virgil. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Now, with that being said, y'all, we had a hit show today on NXT. The NXT title picture is addressed. Izzy Dame celebrates winning the Women's North American Championship. Lola Vice and Kaylani Jordan have a match. Jasper Troy versus Tavion Heights for the Men's Speed Championship. And I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry versus Dion Lennox also on this episode of NXT. So, guys, NXT has a problem. The show starts off with a recap of last week's New Year's Evil episode before we went live in the arena with Ava holding the NXT title. She said Obafemi relinquished the title. We saw most of the men's roster surrounding the ring, but one man felt the need to have his own entrance. Who is that? None other than absolute Ricky Saints, who made his way out and said he should still be the champion and seemed to think Ava should just hand him that title. Ava said there will be qualifying matches next week to determine who would fight for the NXT championship in a 6-man ladder match on February 3rd. Then after that, a huge brawl broke out for no reason, but it was kind of fun to watch one of the Evolve stars throw people around and powerbomb someone through the announce table. All in all, the segment could have been in an email, but again, like I said, you got to make it a big, important factor, of course, for the man Ricky Saints, who I believe is probably your next NXT champion. After this, we go to Kaylani Jordan versus Lola Vice. The last time these two faced off, it was Vice getting the win over Jordan. But on this match, Jordan got an early advantage by hitting Vice with a drop kick while she was entering the ring during her entrance. The ref finally called for the bell once they were both in the ring. Both women were unloading on each other as soon as they made contact. They kept the pace quick and tried to make this feel like a personal rivalry with their aggression. The quick pace led to a couple of moments that didn't look great, but most of what they did in this match worked. Vice ended up defeating Jordan in this match with a brutal spinning back fist. So, like I said, just another good match to kick off the show. Also, we had Tony D'Angelo shown walking behind Ava during a moment backstage. I don't think she knew he was back there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Jasper Troy versus Tavion Heights for the NXT Speed Championship. The Men's Speed Championship was on the line when Heights battled Troy. The big man was caught off guard when Heights came at him quick and tried to take control. But after about 45 seconds, Troy regained his footing and started dominating this match. When we got to the halfway mark of the 5-minute time limit, Troy had Heights grounded in a submission. Heights began to make a comeback and had the champion down for a big splash with about a minute left, but Troy kicked out. They used just over 4 or 5 minutes in this match, but Troy emerged victorious after hitting a black hole slam for the pin. I really appreciate the fact that Jasper Troy is using the black hole slam. Next up, Alexis King showed up and attacked Heights after the match was over to add insult to injury. So it looks like they still have a feud going on. After break, Blake Monroe was out to talk about what happened recently with the North American title she lost a few weeks ago to Tia Hale, who lost it last week to Dame. Monroe said she may have attacked Hale before their scheduled match, but she shouldn't have even had to compete for her own title in the first place. She claimed that she's the most complete woman in NXT, and the only reason she isn't the champion is because she lost her patience last week and got kicked out of the building. Jaida Parker then came and interrupted her. Miss Parker. She got a nice pop when she interrupted her and came out to interrupt her promo. They barely said 2 words to each other before a fight started. Parker took Monroe out with a running hip strike to end the scuffle. Again, like I said, it was still a pretty good promo by Blake Monroe. It was pretty much her same standard stuff, letting everybody know that she is the person to beat in NXT. Um, After this, we also saw Ethan Page backstage in a segment with Ava. They had another funny segment. These two really have good chemistry working together, and it's pretty funny to watch these two um go back and forth. Next up, we got Channing Lorenzo Stacks going up against Shiloh Hill for the TNA International Championship. Hill smiled before going after Stacks in the corner. The champion gained the upper hand and started taunting Hill as he threw himself from corner to corner. The newcomer surprised him with a roll up that almost got the win. Hill hit a rolling dive from the steps to the floor to take down Stacks as the show went to break. When he came back, Hill had a very weird character moment where he was introduced, but he tried hard to make it work while looking decent in the ring. Little help from Ariana Grace, Stacks was able to reverse an inside cradle to get the pin and the win, ending a little sloppy, but still they made the match work. Lorenzo defeated Hill. This match again was all just okay. Had some sloppy moments in it. Especially like I said, with Ariana Grace getting involved into the match. So next up, the new NXT North American Women's Champion spoke. So after break, Izzy Dame came out to talk about winning the Women's North American Championship last week. She asked the crowd why they were happy to see her lose to Tatum Paxley last week. She said she had been watching how everyone in NXT works so she could use it against them. Dame said losing to Paxley gave her clarity and helped her become a champion. She mentioned a few names she knows won the title shot, but she also said they don't know what they're walking into. Paxley came out and rushed the ring to attack Dame, but security held her back. Paxley hit a ref, and and the announcers mentioned that it would probably cost her for doing that. The promo from Dame was bland. She's still trying to find her way as a champion, but again, it happens. So, last but not least, it's time for our main event: Joe Hendry versus Dion Lennox of Darkstate. Hendry had a few run-ins with Darkstate recently, so he requested a singles match against Lennox with no disqualifications and no countouts. Ava pointed out to him that this would give Lennox an advantage, so Hendry recruited Lucian Price and Bronco Nimia to come and be in his corner as backup. So with the odds even, how would Joe Hendry fare in this match? Not to mention King Booker T also sang Joe Hendry's song again, and it still was the best thing on television this week. The match started with an energetic lockup as OTM and the rest of Darkstate watched from ringside. It almost felt more like a lumberjack match at first because both men were trying to avoid being tossed out near the opponent's allies. It took a lot longer than people thought for this match to become physical with the outside opponents. It looked like Lennox was going to get the win, but OTM pulled him out of the ring to break up the pin. Darkstate and OTM fought each other until they were backstage, leaving Hendry and Lennox alone to fight. Hendry kicked out of the spine buster on a steel chair, and Lennox kicked out of the chokeslam on the same chair. Then, out of nowhere, Tony D showed up and hit Lennox with a chair, followed by a chokeslam. He helped Hendry up, only to chokeslam him too. He put Hendry on top of Lennox to give him the win, making this one of the more confusing endings to a match in quite a while. Tony D took out several security guards. Ava tried to send him out of the ring as the show was ending. And this was your NXT wrap up for this week. What the heck is going on with Tony D and what is he doing? But I believe we'll see and we'll get this as soon as possible. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, keep those books